Dust swirled through the narrow, broken streets of Whispering Rock, a frontier town where hope didn't come easy and justice rode slow. The sun baked the cracked wooden buildings, and horses neighed nervously outside the saloon. Men spat tobacco on the ground, and women moved like shadows, silent, watchful, worn. And down that main street, crawling through the filth with blooded hands and eyes swollen from tears, was Clara Weston. Her dress was torn, legs twisted beneath her like broken branches. A single boot dangled from her foot, the other lost somewhere in the alley behind her. The bruises on her face told the story before her lips ever did. And above her heart, once pinned proudly, her wedding brooch had been ripped off, stolen like the dignity they stripped from her. She had married into the Miller family 6 months earlier, a wealthy ranching clan known for their money and cruelty. Her husband, Evan, died in a horse accident 2 weeks ago. By then, his family had already begun treating Clara like a burden. When she refused to sign over Evan's land deed, they beat her and left her for dead outside the general store. And nobody in town lifted a finger, until Wyatt Cole stepped out of the shadows. Chapter 2, A Widower's Guilt. Wyatt had once been the fastest shot west of the Colorado line. His name was whispered in outlaw circles and respected by lawmen. But after his wife Annabelle died of fever and their child followed soon after, Wyatt turned in his badge, sold his ranch, and built himself a little forge just outside town. People called him the blacksmith ghost. He hardly spoke and never smiled. But something in Clara's broken eyes stopped him cold. He knelt beside her. "You got a name." She couldn't speak. She only wept and turned her face away. Wyatt saw the swelling in her knees, the strange angle of her legs. He picked her up, and for the first time in years, he rode with purpose. People watched from porches and windows, whispering, "Why him? Why her?" Back at his cabin, he cleaned her wounds, splintered her legs, and brought broth to her cracked lips every night. It was weeks before she spoke. "My name's Clara," she whispered, eyes glassy with fever. They broke me." "No, they didn't," Wyatt said. "You're still breathing. That means you're not done yet." Chapter 3, Fire and Bones. The pain was unimaginable. Clara screamed through each movement. Her legs, shattered at the knees and ankles, throbbed with every shift in the bed. Wyatt worked on her day and night, keeping the fire stoked and her spirits high with tales from the trail. "You were a lawman?" she asked one night, her voice steadier. "Used to be," he replied, wiping soot from his hands. "Before I had more ghosts than bullets." Clara smiled for the first time in months. Wyatt made her leg braces from iron and leather, fitted carefully to her frame. The first time he helped her stand, she collapsed into his arms, weeping. But she tried again, and again, and again. She began moving around the cabin on crutches. She learned how to stoke the fire, mend shirts, and even helped Wyatt build horseshoes when the pain allowed. One morning, she looked at him and asked, "Why are you doing this?" Wyatt looked away. "Because I should have done it for someone else once, and I didn't." Chapter 4, The Fire Burns Back. Rumors spread through Whispering Rock. The Miller family wasn't pleased Clara was still alive, much less walking. They wanted Evan's land back, and they had no qualms about using force to get it. One afternoon, while Wyatt was away shoeing horses for the marshal, 2 of the Miller brothers rode to the forge. Clara saw them from the window and stood tall, pain radiating from her joints. "Well, look what the wind blew back," Harlan Miller sneered. "We thought you'd crawl into the earth like a good little widow." Clara stared them down. "You want something." "Evan's deed," Roy Miller spat. "Sign it, or we break what's left of you." Clara's fingers trembled, but she gripped the handle of the fireplace poker tightly. "You already tried, and I'm still standing." The door slammed open behind them. Wyatt stepped in, stood across his chest and eyes burning like steel in the forge. "Touch her," he said. voice low and deadly, and I'll bury you under the same soil you're trying to steal. Holland laughed nervously. You threatening us, ghost? Wyatt raised his hammer. No, I'm making a promise. Chapter 5. Redemption Rides at Dusk. They left, but trouble had only begun. Wyatt knew the Millers wouldn't quit. He went to Marshal Bennett, but law came slow in these parts, and the Millers owned half the town. They'll come at night, Wyatt warned Clara. Be ready. I will, she said, fitting her braces and wrapping her hands in leather strips. That night, they lit no lamps. The forge was silent. The wind howled over the plains like a dying coyote. And then, hoofbeats. Wyatt took position by the door, rifle loaded. Clara crouched behind the workbench, clutching her poker like a sword. 3 riders came. 2 dismounted, creeping toward the door. Crack! Wyatt fired. 1 dropped. The other rushed the door but was met by Clara's poker to the jaw, sending him staggering into the anvil. The 3rd turned to flee, but Wyatt mounted and followed. The night rang with thunder and lead. When Wyatt returned an hour later, his arm was bleeding but his eyes were calm. It's done, he said simply. They won't be back. Chapter 6. Standing again. Weeks passed. Clara walked more now. She fetched water from the well. She smiled in her sleep. The forge echoed with something new, laughter. One evening, as they sat outside watching the horizon bleed orange and purple, Clara turned to Wyatt. You saved my life, she said. Wyatt shook his head. No, I just gave you a place to fight for it. She touched his hand. Then I want to keep fighting. Beside you. He looked at her, really looked. Are you sure? I'm a broken man. Clara leaned her head on his shoulder. Then we're perfect. Chapter 7. A Town Remembers. Months later, Clara stood at the center of Whispering Rock, upright, proud, braces clicking with each step. She opened the doors to Weston's Forge and General Repairs, a business she and Wyatt ran together. People came, old, young, even Marshal Bennett tipped his hat. One by one, the town that turned its back on her began to turn its face toward her again. Respect was earned slowly here, but Clara had earned it. They called her the Iron Widow, not because she'd lost a husband, but because she'd found the fire to rise again. And Wyatt? He smiled more now. Every day beside her was a piece of redemption. They married under the sycamore tree that had shaded the old town church. There were no frills, just firelight, friends, and the hush of peace. Epilogue, dust and roots. Whispering Rock would never be gentle, but it was theirs now. Clara planted sunflowers outside the forge. Wyatt built a porch swing from iron and wood. They never spoke much of the past, only of tomorrow. And each morning, Wyatt would watch her walk, slowly, proudly, into town. A woman once broken, a man once lost, together, standing strong.